Hey you guys, hello my lovies and my loveettes. It's me again, Jen Simone, back with another video, and this one is going to be very different from what I normally do. I woke up this morning with a lot of downloads from my spirit team, from my ancestors, and they've been going hard lately, which, I mean, I can't complain. I mean, I got a force behind me, so no shade. But they laid very heavy spiritual things on me. I think it's more so because of my development. So before we get started, I of course want to welcome you. One of the things that I will request is that you not only follow me, but you also thumbs up the videos. And the reason is because it gives me a chance to energetically connect with you. So as I start to get those thumbs up and people accepting my videos and watching, I'm able to tap into the energies that are there, and naturally I can gravitate to who may need some extra assistance. Feel free to comment, of course, but let's keep it wholesome. This is a spiritual led platform, so I will say please come correct or not at all. I am okay with blocking as well as just cutting comments. Part of being able to do this is recognizing when people may be overstepping their boundaries. So I just encourage you to uphold respectful boundaries, and we will continue to coexist. I am attempting to grow my soul tribe, so one of the things I will definitely say is this video is probably going to be the first on my YouTube platform as well. So as we start growing, feel free to take a nice little venture off to my YouTube so that you can have access to some of my spiritual content. But I'm gonna get right into this video. So I woke up this morning to Bible verses laid on my heart. One specifically was Romans 8:28. Now, this was very impactful for me because I happened to be in a car a few days ago, and I saw on the back of a truck Romans 8:28. So when I sat down with my spirit team, which I do every morning, I make sure I connect with my ancestors and I talk with them and let them know, hey, listen, this is what today's going to entail. We do it like a meeting every single morning. I brought up that specific Bible verse, and while talking to the divine, I let them know, like, listen, I feel like you're calling me to start cracking that Bible a little heavy. This is one area where I've always been a bit shyer than most, and it's because of my childhood development when it comes to Bible study as well as going into churches. As a child, I've developed my own emotions about it, and a lot of them, I will say, unfortunately, they were not linked to positivity. Main reason, if I had to go into it just briefly, because I am going to touch on it as I go deeper into this video, but the main reason was because I am a very balanced, even person. I believe in justice. I do believe in fairness. I believe in treating others the way you want to be treated, and I believe in walking that walk. And unfortunately, while growing up in the church, I've seen a lot of the opposite, which made me feel very uncomfortable and very standoffish when it came to me learning the word properly. So that Bible verse was laid on my heart, and I touched on it in my prayers first. And immediately when I was done with my prayers, I decided I wanted to go ahead and listen to a quick little YouTube video that also was a prayer. And the very first line of that prayer, they talked about Romans 8:28, and my heart felt so full, because it could not have been more full circle than less than 10 minutes. God saying, no, I want you to look at that. Go ahead and touch base on that. Let's see what you pull out of that. And of course, me, you're gonna give me a job, Lord. I'm gonna take it. So, of course, I jumped into that Bible verse. I do have it here. I did write it briefly in here. So, what I had, one, More Than a Conqueror, was the title of this variation in Romans, okay? And then it said, and we know in all things God works for the good of those who love him and who love him and have been called according to his purpose. Okay? And then I went into 29, so I was like, let me see if I can get a clarifier on this as well. For those God foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed in the likeness of his son, that he might be the first of many brothers. Okay, now that to me stood out significantly. Now, when it came to me jumping onto my purpose and understanding what God had for me, I cannot tell you how many things I've dug into to try to figure out, is this the purpose? Is this the purpose? Is this the purpose? Mainly because I don't care what it is God want me to do. As soon as I know what it is, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. What other I say no? So I'm going to do it. So as I started to develop and you know, I'm looking at all these beautiful things that I absolutely love doing, all the gifts that God has given me, I've deepened so many of them. Connecting with my spirit team, connecting with him purposely has probably been the best part. The best part, because I don't need a middleman. I talk directly to God. But then when I read this, that helped me understand. So 28 talks about the fact that God calls you into his purpose. Now the word call, a lot of people feel like, you know, that means that you don't have a choice. We always have a choice as to where we're going, how we're going, and when we're going to get there. He gave us free will for a reason. Now, when he calls you to purpose, it is an offer. That is a job offer. That's him saying, hey, listen, I think you are highly spiritually qualified to lead a flock, to bring people to me, to also be able to discern whether or not you are on the path that you should be on. And since you have displayed these qualities, I'm now going to offer you the job to pick up the mantle and to lead. Now, as beautiful as that is, like I said, I have my trepidations that exist from my childhood. We're going to go into those again a little later. But that for me was the biggest thing, because I did ask, hey, listen, what areas do you want me to jump into? I mean, I like tarot and I love it, which is totally fine. I absolutely love tarot because it does give me a way to connect with spirit. And it does give me a way to connect also with the public, with my soul tribe. But God was saying, no, my purpose for you is bigger than that. I need you to get on here and start talking to people about me. And I'm like, you want me to talk about you? Yes, talk about me. Talk about what I've done. Talk about how I move. And I'm like, I'll do that. I don't mind. Okay. So now, when I go into 29 talks about Jesus. Now, I like how it talks about Jesus too, because the first thing it says is that he asked for us to be in Christ's likeness, which is true, right? You can't give a purpose where you are leading a flock to just anybody, because not just anybody can do this. It takes an abundance of understanding of who you are, an understanding and acceptance of where you come from. It also takes a lot of compassion and love for others to be able to do this. So if you do not have those types of qualities within you to help others find themselves, you may not be someone he would say, hey, listen, you're meeting those qualifications. So to say that he wants you to be Christ-like, to me, is amazing. Because to know that once you've reached a level where you are not considered an earth angel in the eyes of God, you are no longer considered a sheep. You are considered a leader. And God needs leaders. He needs people who are going to take up the responsibility of helping guide others to the light, because people are very much forgotten. And this is the reason why I was ready to come on here today to display what has happened to me. Because one of the things that my spirit team did say is that he needs testimonies. He needs people to understand where others have come from. Not to mention, we know that saying of, you know, you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you came from, and it is definitely true. It was me sitting with myself and understanding what I came from, so I can understand why my purpose is the purpose and how I need to prioritize that. So, like I said, I've always run from the ideas of Christian churches, and even jumping into like the Bible and understanding the word. And it was mainly because I was very much turned off to the way that it was displayed to me as a child. Now, as a child, I grew up in the church. My mother was a minister. We went to at least 2 different churches as I was growing. By the time I reached the age 10 to about 17, I was completely turned off to churches. And I'll tell you, the main reason I would say so is because I had pretty much begun to feel like being a part of a church was just a hypocritical thought. I seen a lot of people who were leading the church who moved in ways that were contradictory to what they were saying you were supposed to do. I seen a lot of people who were lost in the masses of the church because the people who were leading prioritized high energy people and people who wanted to give back to their churches or could give back the most over the people who were wandering in and they were lost and they were in need of love or in need of healing. And even as a child, I understood how much they were losing and how I could not look at it as a realistic factor on their success rate, because the people they were losing, I felt like were the ones that actually mattered the most. So just to go into it, I remember being a child and sitting in, church service and then realizing that there were people who were there who I'd never seen before. I remember this one time in particular, I'm looking around and I was like, how many new faces am I seeing? And I maybe pinpointed about 4 new faces that I saw. And this was before my church actually grew to a really big amount. It was a nice little small church. 4 new faces that I had never seen before. And as I sat there and I looked at all of the people that I never noticed, one of the things that called to me was the energy levels. I've always been big on energy. It is my superpower. I can tell you what energies are going to feel tainted. I can decipher. It is what I do. But when I was younger, I didn't quite understand this as a gift yet. So what I noticed were the people who came, they were not happy. It wasn't that they were excited. And they didn't have an overabundance of, praise in them when it came to like even the music. These people were very mellow. They were very calm. And they seemed to have burdens. And that's what I saw in them. I saw emotional burdens. I seen pain. I seen heartache on those 4 people. And then I looked around and I noticed there were 2 others that I had never seen as well, but they, I guess, were coming with friends of people at the church, and they were very excited to be there. They, you could tell they were familiar with the church, so they felt at home. But the ones who did not were the ones who stood out to me. So this day in particular was a very long church service, which, as a kid, you clock in the minutes and the seconds because you're like, oh, this is taking a while. Alright, so we exit the church and I see that the 2 that were there who were friends of people of the church, they were being spoken to by, deacons and deaconess and, asking about where they're coming from and what brought them in and, do they have a church home? And I stepped outside on this day in particular and I happened to see 2 of the people who were in the masses that were very mellow, very calm. I've never seen them before. They were in plain Jane clothes. They were not dressed up in their Sunday best. One gentleman looked like he had just came straight from work. And the young lady that I seen, she looked like she just had on some jeans and a t-shirt. She was not dressed up, but she found her way in. And the gentleman was going left, and the young lady was going right. She was a bit further. And they were leaving the church. And when I picked up on their energy levels then, they were just as lost as they were when they came in. And it was because they came in need. They came in with pain. They came in searching. And because of the inability for the people and members of the church to identify with the need of those people, they walked out of there just as lost. It was just a moment in time where they sat with a whole bunch of people in hopes that they would gain something, and nothing was gained. And they left and I never saw them again. And it was that one time that it really stood out to me how much the church is losing. How many people are still walking around lost. How many people are even in the church and they're lost in the church. And it's because they have not been taught what the real reason for what they do is. They do it because they like, I think, what it gets them clout, of course. Oh, I'm head of the deaconess, or I'm head of this, and I do this. It does make you feel good to feel like you have a sense of power as well as control. But if when you do it, you're not doing it from your heart space, and you're not doing it with love, with acceptance of all, you may be doing it for all the wrong reasons. Even as a child, my mother has had issues in the church where she was called to sing songs, and because she was called to be the head of that song, she was made to feel ashamed by the other members of the choir. I also was the president of the junior deacon board. I remember feeling like at some points, they would have us do, people would vote for who would be the president, and it would get very catty. And for me it was, if you really want this title, you can have the title, because I'm going to lead with my energy. I'm okay with not being president as long as I'm still helping. And that's me always being able to step into my purpose and understanding myself and understanding what love is and a love for spirituality as well as the Lord. Now, as I said, it was hard for me to recognize what my path is, and even harder to step into my path, because my path definitely coincides with the disconnect that I've had. Thank you, Spirit. The disconnect that I've had with understanding the word. Today was beautiful because it gave me a well-rounded understanding of what the word means to me and why I am being called to do what I do, and what it should mean to each and every one of us brought to this. All of us starseeds, all of us who have a purpose that God has personally laid on your heart. Accept your purpose. You have to understand yourself. And it is those experiences from your past, those fears, those things you don't want to do. Those are the things that you're going to be called to do, because those are your strengths. I've mastered an understanding of people, and why would I not be called to work with people in a way that would help them understand themselves? So I'm going to leave with that. This is my very first video, so I do ask that you like, comment, subscribe to me. I am going to go ahead and start putting forth more content, but I am learning, and that is probably the best part of this journey, is learning. You're not just learning the path, but you're learning yourself. You're learning what has made you into who you are. How can you develop into your best self, your higher self? There are ways to do this, and this is what the church was supposed to do. We were supposed to get together and become a family, a soul tribe. It's not supposed to be a one-off where it's me versus you, or who has a better, backing, or who has a better car, or, how you showcase yourself. It was always supposed to be, this is family. And in a family, you develop each other and you help grow each other. I would love to see no more lost souls. So, if I don't want to lose souls, I'm going to have to bring them to Christ myself. And I plan to do so. Okay? So, I'm going to let this be the end. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your likes, comments, and subscribes as well. And I'm going to go forward. Okay? Bye, my lovies and my lovettes. We'll talk later.